G'day folks. Oh, what do we have here? We have a new engine in the shop. Well, it's not so new, it's actually pretty sad, but yeah, this was donated to me by one of my subscribers. I went and saw him yesterday, and yeah, one awesome dude. He's right into computers, he works in IT, but also has a thing for Toyotas, particularly 3S engines. So yeah, he's been playing around with the Celica, and he did offer me the whole car at one point, but it's just sort of like, I don't know if I need another project like that at the moment. Like, it needs a lot of work. The FE that he put in it, the 3S FE that he replaced the GE with, probably also spun a bearing when it was started for the first time in a long time. This one did the same thing. He bought the car having been sitting for a long time with probably some really manky old oil in it. The first thing it did when he started it was spin a bearing, and consequences of driving it home is one wrecked engine. Like, oil light was on by the time he got back. So yeah, the auto on it should still be good. I believe that was all functioning fine when it was in the car. I'm not sure if I'll tear it down. I might, if one of my subscribers needs one, like they have a car with a blown auto in it, I might be able to part with it basically for scrap value. I can't guarantee that it'll work, so it's that's probably going to come up on offer. I do sort of want to tear down a front wheel drive auto, but I'd rather wait for a blown one to show up. We tore down a generic, or mostly tore down a generic GM transmission last weekend, so you've seen inside a generic one, like they're a dime a dozen over here. But the autos on the Toyotas, I'm not sure. If there's no interest in it, it'll definitely get pulled down. Yeah, really great of Julian to donate this and a server rack. I've got a 1200mm high server rack. It's about 1200mm, it's about 4 feet or so. It's pretty decent size. The depth is what kills me on the server rack. I realised I can't even put it in here because the servers are about 700 deep, so everything comes way out from the wall. It's going to live next to my fridge, actually. I'll have food storage and then data storage in the one area. Yeah, he's also got some other computer bits and pieces. We're going to have another clean out once he moves the Celica. He said there's a couple of Power Edge servers and other bits and pieces that he doesn't need. And also gave me a dual slot 1 desktop or workstation main board with onboard SCSI and everything. Well, actually it's a whole computer. It's that one down there. It's got a gigabyte board, dual Pentium 2s in it at the moment. I've got dual Pentium 3 450s or 500s or something like that in the box. But yeah, I took my box of old Pentium stuff and we just traded bits and pieces, and I gave him some old vintage CPUs and RAM and the old smashed up Pentium 200 nicknamed Crunchy. I gave that to him as part of an equipment trade for this stuff, which was awesome. He's going to put it in a new case and turn it into another DOS box, because he's got a really nice collection of old stuff as well as new stuff. So as he said in the IT crowd, it's all wank factor. Having a perfectly good working 386 or 486 desktop and a 386 laptop is, yeah, good wank factor in the IT business. I guess I could say the same thing for having an Amstrad PPC 640 and Amstrad Micro desktop and the 386 desktop and all the other things. Again, I've got pretty good wank factor in it when it comes to vintage computer stuff. No IBM XTs yet though. I wish I'd kept them over the years. Anyway, this is about engines, not computers. I can talk for ages about computers, particularly old stuff. I'm way behind on the modern computer technology, but when it comes to old stuff, I grew up playing with 386s and 486s. And playing with engines. Even as a little kid I was pulling auto transers and engines to bits with Dad in the shed. Yeah. I'm mainly interested in the head. I want to see if this thing can be reconditioned. If it hasn't had a piston slamming into it from over travel, it's probably still fine. And I want to try and put it on Betty Rav, because that from the deck down is essentially a 3S FE. All that's interchangeable, like that new thermostat housing and everything, that's all interchangeable. The head, I don't want to use that. That's not only is the TVIS system notorious for dropping screws into the intake, it's based for a MAF meter. It's got a cold start injection and all that stuff on it that I don't need, so I'll probably use the FE manifold with its MAP sensor and none of this vacuum garbage, no EGR, nothing like that, and just make sure the injectors on the FE are the right size for the head. I mean, obviously a heavier breathing head is going to require more fuel, or at least benefit from more fuel, and that's sort of the idea. I want to be able to yeah, just get a little bit more performance out and solve the rattle, the top end rattle at the same time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but that just depends on whether or not the cam tunnels are scored out. Like if the cams have been run with low oil pressure for too long, they could be scored out, or if the piston with the spun bearings been flying up and smashing into the head thousands of times, well, that's not going to be good for it either. So yeah, it'll all come down to what it looks like and how good it is. There's a lot of corrosion in the cooling system. They've run straight water for so many years, so it's fairly rotted out. There isn't a lot more useful. That's obsolete on the RAVs. They replaced that distributor with coil packs. Yeah, the IAC is different, the throttle body's different. I can't use either of them. Again, the auto, what do you do with it? Can't really do much with it. Yeah, if there's no particular interest and a guaranteed interest in actually using it, not just flogging it, I'll probably strip it down, but otherwise, yeah, I'd be happy to get rid of it just for scrap value, recoup my fuel costs for the day, and that just makes me happy. I don't care about profit. The loom's good. The loom's actually in pretty good nick. It needs a bit of a tidy up. The bit that goes over the rocker cover's a bit chafed, but it's not too bad. That'll definitely come out in one piece. So if anyone needs a 3S GE loom, there's one right here. Yeah, the rest of it's just going to be RAV4 spares, really. All the stuff from the head down's generally interchangeable. Not that much of the internal equipment in the engine's going to be good. Imagine all the bearings are pretty sad now from no oil pressure. But the harmonic balancer, the timing sprockets, the or timing pulleys. Again, different timing pulleys. That'll have 2 timing pulleys for 2 cams, whereas the other one has 1 and a cheater gear set in the middle. So it's a little bit different. Anyway, let's start stripping some bits off it. I can't stay here very long, so I want it stripped enough that I can move it around in 2 pieces. I get the auto off, tape up any openings in the auto and everything, and just set that aside, and then work on the engine. Actually, I might leave the auto on because it does make a good stand. The transmission pan's so big and flat, it just sits there standing as it is with no support on it, so I think I'll leave the auto on there for now. Alright, well, I got a bit sidetracked and didn't get too far into it, but at least most of the loom's out and a lot of the ancillary stuff's ready to come off. Lots of different vacuum lines and things. That's all to do with the control system that's on it, the TVIS system. We'll go into that once I get it off the engine. Yeah, pretty straightforward. It's just a bit time consuming, that's all. Need to find a good extension bar for the rattle gun, and then knock a lot of these out and take all that off. Take the intake off, and then we can start getting into the front of the engine. That'll be during the week or next weekend. Should be good. The loom's out intact. I'll probably end up hanging on to this. If I'm going to be toying with a lot of Toyotas over the years, probably a good idea to keep a 3S GE loom in stock, especially if I'm going to do engine swaps and upgrades and things like that. It's yeah, it's one of those things I think I will hang on to. The auto, not so much. Not too concerned about autos. I like driving manual now. Yeah, the auto, might try and find a home for it. If not, it will be a good autopsy video. So yeah, that's all for now, and thanks for watching. Not a lot in the way of salvageable stuff either, just the throttle body and some of the sensors and rigid lines. And even then, they're vacuum lines, so they never wear out anyway. All the other hoses are pretty much factory original and so badly rotted they've all gone straight in the rubbish bin. They're really degraded.